Hey, welcome to the show, everyone. So glad you could join me today on this August 10th, 2023. I'm your host, Tom Coffee, at Coffee Nuance. We're streaming live every day on YouTube and on Rumble, rumble.com/coffeenuance/live. You would think with a little intro like that, we'd got a few more people watching. Perhaps. Oh, man. Anyway, got, ladies and gentlemen, we got a circus of international absurdities where the unexpected is the new normal and logic takes a back seat to, well, pretty much anything. Ukraine has just pulled off a headline that's stranger than fiction. They've slapped Bacardi Limited with the prestigious title of, quote, international sponsors of war. Yeah, you heard that correctly. The same Bacardi that's been our wingman on countless wild nights is now apparently moonlighting as a geopolitical agitators. Mojitos for peace, anyone? So here's a scoop. Ukraine's not exactly thrilled that Bacardi has been partying it up in Russia, delivering more drinks than a happy hour bartender. Now, before your eyebrows completely escape your forehead, let's make a few more lists that are totally legitimate. How about we make a list, the International Club of Journalists who've drunk the deep state Kool-Aid. Picture Anderson Cooper, Rachel Maddow, and a chorus of news anchors singing in harmony. Who needs investigative journalism when you got a script, right? Or how about the Alliance of Leaders who mistook satirical news for gospel truth? Imagine Kim Jong-un proclaiming that a satirical article about him was just misunderstood. Biden repeating an onion piece as his foreign policy blueprint, and Trump citing fake news as the reason he kept documents in a bathroom. It's a comedy show with higher stakes and bigger egos. And finally, the piece de résistance. The Guild of Politicians Who've Lost Their Ethical Compass. It's a hall of fame featuring politicians from all walks of life, competing to see who can bend their principles the furthest without breaking a sweat. It's like a game of political limbo, and the bar keeps getting lower. There you have it, ladies and gents. Bacardi secured a prime spot on a dangerous-sounding list. Cheers to that, I guess. Remember, when life hands you a convoluted narrative, mix it up with some absurdity. My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee Nuance Show. Best censored commentary news show live right now. Flame on. Yeah, so this is quite a story. Quite a story. Bacardi has been named by the AP, by Ukraine, is they're the bad guys. They're the bad guys now. International supporter of war. Well, it's interesting that they're calling it war, right? I thought this was a conflict, right? We haven't had any wars since World War II. Everything else has just been a conflict, right? I mean, are we buying that line of reasoning at all? I'm trying to pull up the article here. Let's see, where is it? But yeah, Bacardi on a war list. So Ukrainian authorities, they added Bacardi Limited, that's the company. It's actually the world's largest privately owned spirits company, to an international sponsor of war. So, like, they just get to make up lists now. They just get to make up a list. You're a sponsor of war because you're selling your product in Russia. So this is this. And that's the thing is, like, the media will now repeat this, depending on whether or not they have Bacardi sponsorships or, they're running ads on their platform for Bacardi. They'll just say, oh yeah, Bacardi is they're a sponsor of war. Well, is it only Russia is the one doing the war and Ukraine is not doing any war? Or does war go both ways? Because if war goes both ways, then isn't every company on the planet a sponsor of war in that kind of convoluted way? Because that's what it seems like to me. And I know I made some really stupid little satirical lists, but isn't that what this is? Isn't this just a made-up list? What would be your advice? What list could we make up? Because I kind of feel like, we ought to make up these lists, and then we can have other people cite it, right? Can't even think of any funny examples now. You ever wake up and you're just like, the coffee doesn't seem to be working, you're still a little spaced out? Kind of that way today. Not feeling all together. Probably it's not going to be a long show, because I'm not, I don't know, feeling weird today. But weird is okay. It's okay to feel weird. But yeah, Bacardi, sponsor war. And by that same measure, we can now call anyone that does business with Ukraine or Russia a sponsor of war. So, yeah. Anyway, that's it. I got a couple stories to get through today. Stick around for the after show. I'll go through your comments. At least I'll try to. I'll try to end it up with some good news today. And but first off, let's talk about some crazy news a little further south from here. No jokes on this story. A tragic turn. Ecuador's presidential candidate, Fernando Villavicencio, was assassinated during a campaign event in the capital. President Guillermo Lasso, no relation to Ted, vows justice for the crime as the nation grapples with escalating violence. Villavicencio, an outspoken critic of corruption and drug-related violence, was shot dead, leaving a campaign rally. The incident adds to the security concerns surrounding this upcoming presidential election. So this is scary, right? Presidential candidate just gunned down after an event. This is in Ecuador, right? Ecuador is in South America, right on the equator. That's how you can remember where Ecuador is. Yeah, this guy was campaigning on anti-corruption and anti-narco stuff. And this is what happened. And this is an example why it's hard to fight corruption, right? Because the corrupt people or organizations don't want you to win. And they'll stop at nothing to stop you. Just imagine, right? Just imagine if, like, our country was corrupt. Just imagine. We're being hypothetical. And if you were to run saying that you would expose the corruption in our government, well, you would expect that the corrupt government would make sure that you didn't win. And if you did win, they'd probably pull all kinds of shenanigans to make sure you didn't get a whole lot done. But that's just a make-believe thing to imagine if our country were anywhere close to what it's like in Ecuador. Anyway, tragedy that this guy was shot, and it explains why a lot of people don't want to try to fight corruption, because you could be dead. Yeah, you know. Now, as far as I know, this guy didn't have any incriminating evidence on the Clintons, so you can put that one to rest. Anyway, let's get to another story. This one a little closer to home for me. Everybody out! In Oregon, 10 Republican state senators face disqualification from seeking re-election in 2024 due to 10 unexcused absences during a recent legislative session. Secretary of State Lavon Griffin Valade clarified the rule following confusion over voter-approved Measure 113. Republicans intend to challenge the decision in court, arguing the measure's wording allows them to run again. The senators were part of a prolonged walkout that delayed the legislative session. Now, if you remember, probably you don't, but Oregon's Senate was not really conducting business. The Republicans all just kind of took off because the Democrats were strong-arming. They were pushing through some kind of insane bills, in my opinion. Of course, the other side of that, where they were pushing through some necessary bills. And so the Republicans were protesting this by not showing up. And we have these state measures here in Oregon. It's a really odd thing. But anybody can, essentially anybody with some money, they can hire people to go out and get signatures. You need to get like hundreds of thousands of signatures, and it gets something on the ballot. And then Oregonians can vote on these things on the ballot. And what's really kind of dumb about this, I mean, I think it's good, the direct democracy, we can get something on the ballot, but the state of Oregon doesn't actually look to see if the thing that was passed is constitutional or not. Right? So you can pass anything by ballot measure, and it doesn't even have to be constitutional. Right? And then someone does something from that ballot, from that initiative, and then it gets challenged in court. The whole thing is rather silly. You know, like maybe I'm just making this up, right? No, analogies aren't really persuasive, so I take that back. But just the idea, in Oregon, we can pass all kinds of things just by ballot measure, and it doesn't matter if it's constitutional or not. And so we did have a ballot measure that passed that had wording something along the lines of, if you were working in the Oregon Senate and you missed more than 10 votes, you could not run for re-election. Well, it's probably not even constitutional, right? You probably, you know, everybody's got the right to run if they are qualified to run. And so I don't know. This whole thing is weird, but it's just an example of just kind of added nonsense. We're adding a bunch of crap to something that doesn't need it already. So anyway, the senators are going to have a thing in court, and probably the court will say, yeah, that ballot measure is unconstitutional. Perhaps, if we're going to have ballot measures in the state, one of the things is it should actually, you know, run a study just to see if it's constitutional or not. I don't know. Call me crazy. Anyway, we got another silly story here. Let me get this real quick. So why did President Biden interrupt a climate change interview? Because he just couldn't resist showing he's hands-on when it comes to the environment. But So President Biden had an unusual moment during a recent interview. The commander-in-chief brushed an insect off meteorologist Stephanie Abrams' chest while discussing climate change. Biden's actions sparked attention due to his past touchiness accusations. He emphasized climate efforts, but faced fact-checking from the Weather Channel for not formally declaring a climate emergency. So, yeah, they're having this conversation. I will link to the video in the description of this video. So if you want to watch it, you can. But he's talking. She's asking about declaring a climate emergency, and he's like, "Oh, hold on a second." And he's like, "Oh, you got a bug there," and he brushes. I didn't see a bug, but you know, the camera really wasn't there. Supposedly knocks a bug off of her upper chest. Yeah, to me, this is just like, I find this really weird, okay, that no matter how many times they tell this guy, hey, keep your hands to yourself, quit touching people, you ass. Can you just keep your hands to yourself? Biden can't do it. He has to touch. He reaches over and touches and brushes her upper chest. And you go like, well, it's not actually, you know, this part of the chest. Stop. I can't. It's infuriating. And the people that make excuses for this kind of behavior, you know that they're the same people that would have a totally different reaction if he weren't the Democrat president, right? But if you can't keep your hands to yourself, honestly, you shouldn't be a Walmart greeter, much less the president of the United States. That's just my take. We need some good news. Let's get to some good news. It's probably propaganda, but whatever. Hey, did you hear? Russia's launching its first moon mission in almost 50 years, and they're in a race with India to see who can land a lunar craft first. You know, it's like they're trying to reenact the space Cold War up there, and I can imagine Putin and Modi up on the moon arguing over whose flag gets planted where. You thought territorial disputes were bad on Earth. Yeah, so here's the news. Russia's launching its first moon mission in almost 50 years, competing with India's lunar landing this month. The Luna 25 craft aims for the lunar South Pole, highlighting political competition among major powers. Russia wants to demonstrate lunar capabilities despite sanctions affecting its space program. The mission will study moon samples for future lunar base construction. So, yeah, I mean, Russia's launching a lunar lander. I mean, I get, why not, right? Because it's not like they're doing anything else right now, right? Other than drinking Bacardi, I don't know. And I realize that countries can do more than one thing at a time, but it's as if all their resources aren't going toward this special military conflict or whatever they're calling it. I don't know. I'm always excited about space travel. I think it's really cool. I look forward to seeing, more stuff from the moon. And, perhaps Russia won't classify all the things that they do. Maybe they'll actually share it. Maybe India will share more stuff on their trip. I think it's really cool that they were able to figure it out. You know, it's like, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, I think it's good news. I think it's cool that other countries are going to the moon, perhaps building something on the South Pole. I don't know that anyone's ever been to the South Pole of the moon, so that's kind of good news. It's inspirational, and I like it. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I know it was quick, but probably because I'm not all awake for whatever reason. Don't know why. I thought I slept well, but not. Anyway, stick around for the after show. I'll go through all your comments, and I'll be back tomorrow. It's a Friday. It's a Fact Check Friday, so I am going to have a great show tomorrow checking those facts. Until then, peace. Whoo, yeah. Here we go. Duggo over there on Rumble, once again, representing on Rumble. We've got a couple people watching. Only one commenter, so what's up, Duggo? But we'll get more people later today. That's cool. Lucid Moments, Natasha. Pickle jars for Hillary. R.I.P. Bacardi. Yeah. I misunderstood Bacardi. It is if it makes Z cry like a baby. Convoluted Absurdity sounds like a good name for a mixed drink. That would be, you know. Convoluted Absurdity. That is a good name for a mixed drink. But I think it'd be hard to remember that name, especially if you've been drinking. So maybe not. Rum, vodka, and Corona beer, all the outcasts mixed together, except Bud Light. Okay. Fat Cyborg says he's right by the Bacardi factory right now. Where's that? Is that, I thought, is Bacardi, I should know where Bacardi is from. Is it Jamaica? Where's Bacardi from? Cyborg, do they give tours? Fat Cyborg says yes. Couldn't live chat on Rumble. I think I have to learn how to navigate Rumble. The live chat seems to work. Are you doing it on the phone? Doug, let me know if it's on the phone. I should probably see what it's like. Let me see if I can pull it up right now on my phone and see if I can do that. Let's see. Okay. Now how do I do a chat? Oh. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, so there is a go to live chat button, and then at the bottom I can comment. I heart Bacardi. And it seemed to work. So there we go. Look at that. So I was able to do it on my old Motorola on Android with the Rumble app. Seemed to work. And I can do it on Firefox. Duggo says desktop viewer here. So I've tried it on the desktop on my Mac, and I tried it on my Android. So we'll try different ones. See if we can't figure this out. That's just a title grab. Okay. I keep getting honeybee landing on me when I'm waiting in my front yard. Where's Biden when I need him? Exactly. Been pretty lucky here. Haven't had too many wasps this summer. Usually every summer out here in Portland, in East Portland where I live, we get a number of wasps. And I am allergic And so it makes it tough to do any yard work when there are wasps out there. But I could use Biden to come by and just knock the wasps off, keep me safe. So that's true. The race to third place. Well, I don't know if it's third place. It might be fourth or fifth. I think a number of countries have been to the moon. That's not a moon. It's a space station. Okay. Imagine how someone would look if raised in 0G. I have no idea what someone raised in 0G would be like. Meanwhile, NASA's going for higher, more diversity. Well, you know, priorities. We got to have our priorities. Earth wobble is making lots of people feel a little off. Maybe that's what's going on with you, Tom. You know, perhaps it is the Earth wobble that's got me a little messed up today. I don't know. It's like I'm just a little hazy. I'm not even sure what it is. I should probably go out for a walk and I'll probably feel fine shortly. But anyway, I guess that happens to everyone sometimes. Anyway, looks like that's all the comments we got today. I will be doing a fact check tomorrow for Fact Check Friday. So I'll try to find a really good one for that. I hope you all are doing awesome. And I will see you mañana. Peace. Boom.